Hello everyone, after 2 weeks without meeting, today I will continue with episode 1146. Luffy enlightens Warcury. The Straw Hat crew is surrounded. Along the coast at this moment the horse demon Old Man is still galloping at full speed using incredible speed and brilliant swordsmanship, disabling all the Pochi Feaster Mark III. Truly a terrifying power of one of the world's top figures. Realizing this, Doberman immediately ordered the Navy soldiers to intensify artillery fire, not allowing the Straw Hats to escape. After dealing with the pacifistas, the old man Eiichiro is still fuming inside. Because Bonnie is just a 12-year-old kid, yet Vegapunk gave her a power that can destroy an entire nation. Truly an insane act of rebellion. Over at the Giant's side, they are calling all crew members to return to the ship because some big names have landed on the island. Outside on the coast, the Navy warships are fiercely bombarding, aiming to stop and sink the Eiichiro ship. They are determined not to let their target set sail. Facing the blockade of Vice Admiral Red King, Frankie charged forward, launching a jet punch clashing with his mechanical arm. However, since Frankie is stronger, the Vice Admiral Red King was immediately defeated. On the other side, Vice Admiral Pomsky approached Bonnie, seeing that the girl asked the Giant to protect her father, then jumped down herself. The Vice Admiral shouted, declaring he would not let military weapons fall into Bonnie's hands. But just as he lunged, Bonnie dodged and used her power to turn him into a child. Furious because he dared call her father a weapon, she gave him a memorable kick. The girl declared her father a hero, then added some more punishment. Vice Admiral Guillotine nearby witnessed the scene, trembling like a leaf, advising Bonnie to stop. Suddenly from above, Atlas dropped down using her super powerful punch, blasting him away. Since everyone else hasn't arrived yet, the three of them will clean up this mess first. The three Vice Admirals, upon hearing that, also resolved not to let anyone from the Straw Hats escape from here. Back above in the laboratory, York is still screaming, afraid of being eaten by the monster in front of her. So Mars released Haki from his eyes, destroying the handcuffs, then asked where the recording was hidden. Seeing York still frozen, he then used his mouth to take her away quickly. Inside, Vegapunk's message is waiting for the broadcast time. Shaq asked him why he didn't drink the coffee, but since it was too hot he still couldn't. At this time there are 4 minutes left before the message is sent, so York led Mars down to the secret room where Vegapunk hid the footage. Immediately Mars fired a beam of light, destroying that room without hesitation. But York then advised him not to act rashly because it would solve nothing since the broadcast hasn't stopped. York explained if she were the main brain she would definitely move the transponder snail elsewhere. Mars, after hearing that, wanted to flatten the entire lab floor. But York said that level 2 of Tower B is the weapons production area, while level 1 is the energy plant. Level 3 of Tower C, all gas pressure tubes have been filled. If it explodes, the entire lab will blow up. That means Punk Records will also vanish with it. Hearing this, Mars immediately told York to think carefully because he knew she would make a reasonable choice. York then said she would stop it because if she continued making mistakes she wouldn't be able to follow the 5 elders anymore. Suddenly Mars sensed a small voice somewhere inside Punk Records. He immediately concluded that it might be the transponder snail he was looking for. York then described that snail as a recent invention and it has a triangular shape, then pointed Mars to the room's entrance. Inside, after seeing Mars leave, Stussy felt relieved as there was no longer any threat. Kaku didn't know what that monster just now was. But judging from the conversation he also guessed it was one of the 5 elders with a terrifying transformation. Kaku then asked Stussy if she had been abandoned by her comrades. He even started to feel sorry for her because she had betrayed both him and the government. However, Stussy didn't feel sad at all because she was the one who decided to stay. Someone had to take responsibility and carry out this final mission. Outside, the group with Nami couldn't believe they had left Stussy behind. In response, Edison explained that it was necessary because the barrier dome had to be lowered the moment the ship escaped. And the command to lower the dome could only be executed from the control room. Now wasn't the time for sadness. Escaping safely was the best way to repay her. Hearing this, Nami was determined that they had to give their all not to let Stussy down. However, Robin worried about how they could reach a safe distance to avoid collision without Vegaforce 01. At that moment Edison admitted he had done the calculations, and according to classical mechanics there was a 100% chance the ship would crash into the ground. Suddenly Usopp the Great announced that preparations for the booster cable were complete. Once Zoro and the others arrived they would make a giant leap to the other side. Seeing that, the president also reported that they were in big trouble. More booster cables were needed to reach the sea. Suddenly hearing this, Edison laughed loudly because the Straw Hat crew was truly amusing even in crisis. Above all, he admired their perseverance, which was always the source of every miracle. As a scientist, Edison would ensure the Straw Hat's ship landed safely. As soon as he finished speaking he dove straight down to the barrier to check whether they could perform the jump by flying over it. Back to the battle at the coast, the Navy ships were suddenly dragged into the island's center. It turned out the sandworm old man was sucking in Luffy's group but accidentally drew in soldiers and trees around. With such terrifying suction the two captains and Luffy couldn't move forward anymore. Suddenly in this dangerous moment Luffy shifted gears using momentum to smash a building in half. When the sandworm opened its massive mouth, Luffy lifted the building high, spun it around and hurled it straight into Jupiter's mouth, telling it, "If you're hungry then eat this." After swallowing an entire building full, the creature was blown backward, temporarily restrained. Seizing the moment, the two captains tried to escape, but suddenly Luffy ran out of energy and turned into an old man. Seeing that both captains were confused about what the heck he was doing, Luffy said he was out of energy because all his food reserves were gone. Dory then asked if he could eat a carp, although it smelled a bit. Turns out it was rotten shark, the emergency food of the Elbaf people. Once you get used to it you'll crave it. Something was better than nothing, so Luffy didn't think much and began chomping it down despite the heavy odor. Unexpectedly, after swallowing just one piece of fish, Luffy regained his strength as it was highly nutritious. Just then Warcury came charging furiously from behind, so Luffy leapt up, inflating his arm covered in flames, and launched a red rock punch straight at him, enlightening the old man. Thinking he'd just served roasted pork, but instead Luffy screamed in pain because the old man's head was harder than expected. Seeing Luffy acting like a clown, the two captains burst out laughing at his strange body. After joking around, all three took the chance to escape before the five elders recovered. Suddenly over at Nami's group, Saturn had swiftly climbed onto the clouds, terrifying everyone. The president even boldly guessed that it was a giant sea crab. Meanwhile at the northeast shore, the vice admirals had been neatly dealt with by Frankie's group. Unexpectedly, just as they were about to board the ship, old man Newsjuro suddenly rushed in, taking down one giant crew member. He appeared like a ghost, blocking Frankie and Bonnie in a monstrous form, looking no different from old Eustace and his timid dog from the American cartoon. Finally, at the Punk Records lab, with 1 minute left before Vegapunk's message broadcast, Mars had already found the transponder snail. He walked up and declared that Vegapunk had no luck at all, daring to defy the world government. Thus episode 1146, and see you all next week on my channel. After watching, don't forget to like and subscribe to support me. Thank you, love you all forever.